we know for sure, categorically, that physical abuse, being struck with an object, particularly like this, I mean, this is really over the top, obviously, for young people whose brains are developing, shatters the brain's upper limit of its ability to regulate and actually changes the way the brain grows, such that we are talking about damaging an organ. And that's how this should be prosecuted, in my opinion. The brain becomes damaged, and the way it develops dysregulated. It can no longer, the interconnections amongst the emotional systems don't develop normally. Plus, people that have been that severely violated by somebody they love rupture trust. They can no longer enter the frame that we as humans use to heal emotional dysregulation. Jack, you've handled cases like this. What happens from here?
This is a tragic situation, Dr. Drew. I'll tell you, we rely on experts like you in the cases that we bring that address this very type of conduct. And the damages are tremendous. They're lifelong damages. We have to develop life care plans to help take care of these children who've been affected by this. It affects their cognitive abilities, it affects their emotional abilities, it affects their relationships in life, it affects their ability to hold jobs in the future.
Jack, I want to stop you. I think with that list you just gave up there, I'm so glad you said this, because I think people, it just goes past people. That is exactly what any of us working in mental health, this is what what precedes them coming to us. And they can't function in relationships. They have trouble functioning at work. They have higher incidence of addiction, alcoholism. As you said, even their scholastic performance is impaired. I mean, it affects all areas of functioning for these children. How can we? I got to show you. The video lasted 8 minutes, and the victim says this wasn't the first time. Of course, it wasn't the first time. This was a well-heeled experience. Now we want to show you a little more. Again, I'm warning you. There's more of this. So here we go.
Stand up. Stand over the bed. Bend over the bed. Got me? Get on your stomach on the bed now. Get on the stomach or I'm going to start beating you again.
Get on your stomach.
Get on your stomach, I said. Get on your stomach.
Get on your stomach. Get on your stomach.
Get on your stomach.
Get on your stomach. That's right.
Beat you into submission.
And you know what? I watch this tape, and people they often say, why is she releasing the tape now? You know what I think happened? I think this child has had treatment. She's coming to terms with this and has now decided she's not fully forgiven, which she's got to find her way to that someday for her own good. But I think she released this tape now because she's partially treated. Judge Karen, I want to ask you this. This judge, and he is a peer of yours. I understand you're in Florida. He's in Texas. What should or will happen to this guy?
Well, I think the statute of limitations has already run on any possible abuse charges. I think it's 3 to 5 years in Texas. I think that more than a legal issue, though, this becomes a moral issue. What I was saying earlier is that the United States Supreme Court banned corporal punishment in schools in the 1970s, but never made a decision or a ruling about corporal punishment domestically. That is, people have a right to punish their children. Even the Attorney General of Texas has said that it's appropriate to use a belt to punish your children. And I wonder how many parents could stand up to the scrutiny of a videotape of them punishing their children. That's one thing, because I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people.
Videotape like that of me.
I think a lot of people.
Because I know what happens. I know what happens to the kids' brains. I have to deal with it later.
You know what?
I don't care if people have a right to. This is first of all, in this state they do not. In California,
first of all, in many places
they
don't. And with all due respect to the judge,
you know
if you're
what?
a parent
The
and
United
you're disciplining
States
your
Supreme
child,
Court
that video
could have
should hold
said
up. You shouldn't be ashamed for the world to see how you're treating your children.
There are 22 countries in the world that have outlawed domestic corporal punishment. That means that parents cannot punish their children. Guess what? The United States isn't one of those countries. And
but
we
you know
don't
what?
have
as a
signatory
public
to the
official,
International
Your Honor.
Human Rights Convention,
Jack?
which says that everybody has the right to be free from
Jack,
violence.
Jack, go ahead.
Your Honor,
Jack.
Your Honor, as a public official, as in most states, there is a mandatory reporting requirement for abuse. If you witness this, you would be required to report this to the authorities, to the Department of Health and Human Services, and to the judiciary for the professional conduct of the judge under this circumstance. You cannot ignore this.
And let me just say, everybody,
Jack,
let me interrupt you. Judge, hang on, Your Honor. 1 second. Let me just tell you, I don't care. No, I'm sorry. I don't care what the law says. We in the medical system have overwhelming evidence of what this does to children. Yes, societies used to do this. We used to do all kinds of horrible things. We used to have torture, for God's sakes. It's time we put a stop to this. We know the consequences, and I don't care what the Supreme Court has said. It's going to say something different because we know now what this does to children.
And I don't want
it's got to
people
catch up with the medical facts.
By the way, I don't want any belt beaters out there who are doing this to their children to think it's okay and that they can get away with it, because in many places they would be prosecuted. That would certainly be the case here in California. It's a matter of degree, even in Texas. 7 minutes beating a disabled child is a crime even in Texas.
I have to stop. Coming up, the dad wasn't the only one beating and verbally abusing this teenager. Her mother got involved in this as well. I'm going to show you that part of this. And I tell you, it's all so disturbing to me because I see these people as adults. I'm the one that has to put this all back together, my peers. And let me tell you, it's not subtle. It's not a question, does it harm them or doesn't? It's overwhelmingly